Okay, we are live. Okay, so we'll wait a
Hello.
little bit to see if anybody's coming on. I'm really excited to talk about this one with you because I know we had like completely different thoughts on the first one. And
Yeah.
then like on my Discord, I noticed people were like Ward, I was like, oh, I loved this. And I was like, oh, I think I'm like gonna be in the minority on this one. But that's
I think
what's good. That's what's good about book clubs.
exactly that's what I was thinking. This is going to be juicy because I feel like I get where you were coming from, but I don't know if you giving me the heads up actually made me look at it slightly differently as well.
Maybe.
Because I went
Maybe.
into
I
it
don't
thinking
know.
it's going to be really annoying, so
I was like also looking at like the stuff on it right now because I couldn't remember like a lot of the stuff
Mhm.
from like the final act and different things that happened in that one. So I was like, wait, what happened? With all the competition and that kind of stuff. But so I was kind of forgetting everything. But while we're waiting, what are you currently reading right now?
So I'm reading a book called Paved in Blood by Sonia Gray. It's book one in her, I think it's Melnikov Dratva series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite enjoying it so far. I'm about 80% in, so I've only got about an hour left of it
Oh,
because it's
that's good.
a fairly shortish book. But yeah, I really like Sonia Gray. She's like easy breezy.
I've never read her before. I'll have to give her a try.
Yeah, they're it's like what I call mafia light. Like the heroes are easy breezy. They're insta love. So that's the one thing to know. They're insta love, all in straight
Yeah.
away. But they're usually pretty quick. She usually writes them like under 300 pages and
Kind
it's
of like
just
what Neva used to do with
yeah,
her under 300. I
yeah.
haven't read her new one, like the most recent Neva Type book, because I finally read the Beast one, like where it was the
Mhm.
second generation, and it just felt like I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it, and I felt like some of it was a little longer than it needed to be. And I think that was the complaint with this one, where it was like
Mhm.
just kind of repetitive and felt like longer when she used to tell really good story within like under 300 pages, you know?
Yeah, I really liked it though. It's definitely not as good as obviously her last couple of books, like 9 and 10 were fantastic, right? But
Yeah.
I actually quite liked 11 because it went back. It was like a simpler story. I kind of like the romance.
Hmm.
There's a lot of caretaking in it. It did. I mean, it was slightly longer than it needed to be, but I still quite
Yeah. I
yeah.
think like she is just going to be writing not long books, but a little bit longer
Mhm.
than she used to. I didn't mind it with Sweet Prison because I gave that like 6 stars. I loved that one.
Mhm.
But yeah, I had somebody reach out to me on Instagram to read like an MC novella. So I was like, sure, I'll read that, a novella. And I started it last night and it just threw me off because it was in third person
Oh.
POV. And I was like, oh, like that's not, I don't mind third person POV, but it's for historical, like I think that's going to be harder for that author to do good in like MC romance, contemporary dark romance. If you're telling it in third person, it just feels disconnected a little bit, but it
Yeah.
works for historical. So I was
Mhm.
like, it was kind of throwing me off a little bit. It was like, and then it was like kind of a sweet, cozy thing. It didn't seem very dark. I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, it's only 50 something pages, and then I'm going to start this one today, which is a historical.
Oh,
I'm reading her Maiden Lane series.
okay.
So I'm going to vlog them all. And yeah, so I'm going to start this one today. I'm hoping it's good because I need a little breather after the Constantine,
Yeah,
finishing,
yeah.
trudging through Constantine for days. Okay, so I guess we'll get started. Not many people are on right now, but you know how it goes with these. Okay, so this is the Immortals After Dark read along. We are really getting close to the end here, which is crazy because I was looking at what numbers we were at and how much we had left. So it's pretty cool. We're getting through this. But the first book we're going to talk about is Shadow's Claim.
Mhm.
Everybody, let me see if we got a comment. Oh, Warda's here. Hey, Warda.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Everybody, in the comments or whatever, if you want to let us know, what did you rate Shadow's Claim? What did you think of this book? Give us your thoughts. I'll let you kick it off, Helen.
Oh, I don't know. Should we start low and go high? So yeah, I really like this one. I actually rated it 4.5 stars, which was on par with what I rated Lothair.
That's
So
crazy. Like,
that's
wow, right up
crazy.
there with Lothair. I was glad we had Lothair at the end of this because I was like, oh, I'm missing Lothair watch, where we had our teasing of Lothair for books and books. So at least he was like near the end.
Yeah.
And we got to see him again.
He appeared. Yeah.
I rated it 3.5. So it was probably one of my least liked ones, but I still liked a lot of stuff about it.
Mm-hmm.
But me, if a heroine annoys me, it brings down the book, and she really got on my nerves. But I think I might be on the minority on this. Here's Warda's. So she said it was a 4.5 for me. I really enjoyed this a lot.
I'm going to talk you around. After this, you'll increase your rating.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, a lot of people, I was reading some of like the 5-star reviews on Goodreads, and I mean, people really loved it. I think to me, it was mostly the heroine.
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked learning more about the Dacians and all of that kind of stuff. Which I guess that was one of my questions was like, what did you think? Oh, I guess I can't spell. What did you think about the Dacians? I liked learning more about them because we only got a little bit about it in Lothair. So I thought it was kind of cool. She's, opening up. Like it's still so mysterious, their whole land, where like people can't come to it and you have to be kind of invited with what happened with like Caspian and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I really liked it because up to this point, I've been a bit like, I've not been that into the vampires. Like the vampires were okay, but we saw a lot of them, right? With I can't remember the name of the brothers now, but we saw a lot of them with the brothers. Obviously, Lothair was intriguing, but I really liked this group of vampires because, like you say, they are a little bit more mysterious. We don't know much about them, but also they seem to be feuding with each other. So
yeah,
like
were him and one of his brothers or whatever trying to kill each other all the time, and like, and then it was interesting learning about like some kind of like it was some kind of disease or whatever, some kind of thing, and I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. So I think there's a lot of potential, and I really like that part of it. So that's kind of something that I enjoyed out of this book. What were your thoughts on the hero, which is Trahan, right? If I remember his name correctly.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it, but I think that's it, right?
I know it's Trahan because I listened to the audiobook.
Yeah. So I really loved him. What I loved about him the most was I felt like he was very logical and very patient with the heroine. He wasn't quite as high-handed as some of the other heroes had been, because as soon as he studied, like they normally kind of get a bit obsessed, and it's like they don't take no for an answer, right? And they get a bit high-handed with the heroines. But I felt like he was kind of very patient. He was very logical. He was like, okay, I'm going to take the time to kind of like convince her and woo her and, almost like court her as such. So I really liked that about him because I felt like he was quite level-headed.
Yeah, I think he's like my favorite part of this book was I loved the hero. I mean, I love that too. Like what you're saying is like, when she thinks he's Caspian and he's in there getting down with her, like other heroes would have just kind of kept going with it, but he, stopped. But I just really liked him. I thought, he kind of gave up everything for her and changed his whole, like what he thought his path should be and his future and like what his quest is and everything and his purpose. And so I really liked his character a lot. I think more of my issues were, and that's the next question, is thoughts on the heroine.
Yeah, so I know your thoughts on the heroine already, but you could tell us a bit more. But
to me, it was like reminding me. I don't know if you've ever watched Gone with the Wind. She reminded me of Scarlett O'Hara, obsessed with Ashley. Oh, Ashley, like Caspian. Like it was just like, oh my god, you have Trahan, who's like amazing, and this Caspian douche is out there screwing a bunch of chicks in one night. And just kind of like a fuck boy, and you're obsessed with him. So it was getting kind of annoying to me. Where it says he was such a sweetheart. Yeah, I love him. I think that's why I was getting more frustrated with her too, because he was so amazing. And then like her whole thing of like, oh, you can't kill him in the thing, and then like her demands. I don't know. It was.
Well, I had a lot of empathy for her. So this is where I was going. And I think because I just started the book, but you were a bit further ahead, and then you said you weren't getting on with the heroine, and I was like, okay. And I kind of kept a bit of an open mind, and I was kind of watching for that. But I felt like I had a lot of empathy for her because she comes from quite a difficult place, right? She's got a lot of baggage, and Caspian's really been the only one that's ever kind of cared about her or supported her, and they were kind of both these outcasts, and they were kind of in it together. So I kind of had a lot of empathy for why she would kind of latch on to him and why she wanted to be with him. And also, even though outwardly she kept saying Caspian, in her head, like the inner monologue in her head, you could definitely see her shift. So I think over the time, you could see the shift in her own head in terms of what she was actually thinking, even though what she was saying didn't quite relate to that. So Graham was obviously continuously thinking she doesn't care about me, but because we could see inside her head, we knew that she'd already started that shift, right? And I think that's what I was looking for, and where I was thinking I actually have quite a lot of empathy for her, and I kind of get it.
Yeah, I can see this too, and I can see both your guys' points because she really did have nobody, and she was being kind of used as this pawn, lost all her powers. She went through a traumatic experience. Now she's like agoraphobic and has like panic attacks just going. So there are a lot of like really, where things about her that you could be kind of feel empathetic for, like feel really bad for her. And of course, so like Caspian, she like kind of has her best friend that she's kind of clung to as her one person. And, unfortunately, he just views her as like a sister, which she kind of knows, at least she's not totally in denial. If she would think he was like so obsessed with her, I think that would have made me even more irritated. Like, have some self-awareness. She knew she was going to have to. Yeah, she latched onto someone that had been there for her, and she truly believed herself to be in love. Yeah. And I do think Cressley Cole does a good job throughout the book of showing, like you said, her shift, because she does. Sorry, the cat's like rubbing her head against the computer. Okay. Of showing her shift and like thinking about Trahan. So yeah, I think I was just really frustrated, and it stayed with me instead of being me more sympathizing with the heroine throughout the book. Oh yeah, so I think, what was the other thing? Oh, so what did you think about like the main plot driving force of like the kind of like death battles, like tourney type of thing for her?
Style tournament, yeah. I actually really liked it because I thought it added quite a lot of sort of like drama and a bit of peril, right? It was kind of high risk, and especially when they introduced that big demon, and you're like, how are they gonna defeat this big demon?
Like his battle with him was really, really cool, and it felt very action packed. And of course, I listened to the audio, so Robert does such a good job with like the action scene. I honestly, ever since I listened to the audio, I haven't been able to go back because he does such a good job with these books. So I think it like amped it up and made it more exciting, like all these scenes. So I actually really liked that. It did remind me so much of like so many fantasy, things where it's like some kind of competition, those type of things that drive the plot. So I really liked that too.
Yeah, definitely. It was good. I mean, it was one of those things where, like you say, he sacrificed everything to be with it. So even up front, before he was going to pick him, he's like, I need to enter the competition in order to save her. And so he kind of like leaves his whole world behind by entering the competition. That one, he might die. Obviously, we know he's not going to, but one, he might die, and two, he doesn't even know if he's going to win her in the end. And so I feel like that added extra kind of weight to that as well. And even Caspian, though, Caspian ends up stepping up and doing the right thing, right? Because he doesn't want to enter the tournament. And I guess you could say that he's done it for selfish reasons. But even the fact that Caspian ends up stepping up and going, okay, I will enter because I want to save my friend is quite good as well.
And I think Caspian is like the next book in this, when we get to the second book in this type of thing. I think it's Caspian. So I think that's going to be interesting. I think that one is MM too, if I'm thinking. I think so. That'll be interesting. So to maybe kind of, I didn't hate Caspian. I just didn't see why she was so obsessed with him.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe it'll have some kind of redemption for him, for me, like of him not being such a like whatever. But I'm not positive about that. I think it is because when I was looking at like the Reddit thread on this, where they do that book club, I think it was like Prince Mercio and Caspian or something. But I guess okay. So one of the other questions was, was one of your favorite like side characters or anything in this book?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I really liked Morgana.
Me too.
Obviously she comes across as quite evil, right? But there's definitely something going on with her and the uncle guy. Is it Rom? His name is, right? So there's definitely something going on between them, right? I don't know if they end up getting a book.
I don't know, because I'm like, does she ever get a book? Because I like this like different sorceress, the sorcerer type of thing too, you know. I was hoping Caspian would get a story. I got interested in him more so towards the end when he became an outcast. Yeah, so like that one is gonna be, hold on, let me see what it's called. Shadow Seduction. So that's gonna be, because it says Shadow Seduction, Prince Mercio Daciano and his new friend Caspian the Tracker comb the streets of Dacia, drunkenly seeking out pleasures of the flesh. So somebody was like, oh, I don't really like the gay for him plot. So I'm guessing it is a romance between those two. So
actually, that makes sense then, because that's probably why he ended up in Dacian in the first place, right? Because someone sponsored him and let him in. Is that the same for the
I don't remember. But maybe it is, because well, and I'm like, why was he trying to get over there and then leave and like all this stuff? So it's hard for me to remember a bunch of that. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you know, some of them overlap from a timeline perspective, right? And I'm wondering if we will then get the backstory of him, why he went to Dacian, because maybe he was
that will go back
with the guy, and then something happened and he kind of left. I don't know. Yes, the Phantom was amazing.
Yeah, that was my other favorite character. I thought that was hilarious, where he'd be there like when they were like getting it on and it's like, get the hell out of here. So I really like that side character. I love that because Cressley always manages to put a good humor in her books. Yeah. And so I really liked his character. I was missing Nyx a lot. I know we have like a view of her, like, oh, who's that woman type of thing. But I was like, where's Nyx? Because she's always like my favorite side character, and I missed her. But you know.
Yeah, she was pretty much AWOL, right? For these, even for the next two books, she's kind of like, people are looking for her, but they don't really know what she's up to. But she's
luckily we get her again in MacRieve. But like, because this is kind of like a side, you know, like a spin-off type of thing, Immortals After Dark. And what's weird is they did like the read along for the Fated Mates or whatever. When they did it in a different reading order, and I think it's good we did it in this order, because I think they were confused by stuff because they read these after the next ones, and stuff from this is like important to the ones I think we have for next month. So I think it's good that we read these first, because they were like confused by certain characters and stuff. The performance of the audio of the Phantom was amazing too. He was always so, yeah, he was great. Like like Robert just does such an amazing job with each of the characters, where they all feel so different and unique. Like he does such a good job with those. Well, any final thoughts on this one? Do you want to talk about what you? I guess I have this. We kind of talked about it with like what you like about the book, like what your favorite part of the book was or whatever.
Well, I think it goes back to what I said at the start. I really, really liked this hero, and I liked how level-headed he was, and I really liked the courtship between this couple. I felt like they had a lot of time. They had a lot of page time together. He took his time to kind of woo her. They kind of went on these little dates and stuff, and I think the dates were super cute. And you know, like he was into her weapon making with the jewelry and making the weapons, and he obviously had a passion for weapon collection and stuff as well. So I felt like they had a lot of shared interests, and he was really like looking at her not just as you know, like a sexual being kind of thing, but actually like I really enjoy actually spending time with her. We have great conversations. We're into the same types of things from a hobby perspective. So that's what I like most about it. And that's one of the reasons I rated it so highly, even though I do get your point about her being a bit annoying, because I just thought, instead of him just coming in really high-handed and like, you're going to be my woman, took the time to really like just get to know her, which I liked.
You're right. They did get a lot of page count, like, because a lot of times you have separate stuff going on with these, like they're going on their own journeys, and so they really got a lot of time together. I really liked too how he was helping her get confidence and not be scared anymore and get outside, and like that's kind of like, I really liked those moments with him where he was really trying to make her, you know, get over her past trauma and just be there for her. He was very supportive. So I really liked those scenes too.
Yeah.
Then I have the what didn't you like? I don't know if you didn't like anything.
I don't think there was much I didn't like, actually.
I have a few things.
Go on.
So again, the heroine being, and then I think the thing that really bugged me too was the whole third act really made me frustrated with how like he had to kind of grovel and like for things that happened, when I felt like she was the one that, like, I just wish they had better communication so that she knew, like he knew that she was in love with him and not hung up on Caspian, because he kept feeling very like, oh, well, obviously, you know, I'm not her first choice. I'm not what matters to her because she's just worried about him. So I just wish there was a little bit better communication, because I felt like that whole third act thing made me annoyed with the heroine even more than I already was. But yeah, I mean, I think I see a lot of your guys' points that it was, you know, like somebody put in their thing like, I liked this book. They're just like, it wasn't like my favorite. It's not like one of her other ones that I really loved. So.
Well, and we can't overlook Lothair's involvement though, right? Because I feel like part of that breakup, we needed that, because that overlaps with Lothair's story. And then it's almost like quite funny, right? Because they're these two men now, and they've both lost their women, and like Emily's really upset with Lothair, and like I don't know. And then
like, Lothair's like, I literally cut my heart out for
exactly
my woman.
And so I was like, oh, it's a little bit of male bonding, right? Bless them. And then, but then Lothair gives him a little nudge. She's like a little matchmaker.
Which is, so I was happy we got Lothair at the end there. So that's the only thing, like, I was like so happy with that, with the third act, because then we got Lothair kind of getting involved and helping out in a way. And, you know, seeing him and his, you know, his mate, his hick mate that he loves. Okay, so I guess we'll move on to MacRieve. So this one, I will say, I think I like lichens more than the vampires. So I really loved this one. So I have a lot more positive thoughts on MacRieve.
Okay, so that's interesting.
So what did you rate it, everybody?
I gave this one a 4-star.
4-star? That's your usual. Like, you went back to your 4-star.
I've gone back to usual.
Well, there's appearance was such a great addition to that book. Made me love him even more. Yeah, I love Lothair. Like, I think the more you get of him too, like the more you see like the good parts of him, not like just like, you know, the enemy of old, you know, like kind of shit. But so here we go. Where was I at? Okay.
What were we rating?
I actually rated this 5 stars because I really loved this one, even though it has some really frustrating elements, like with the way MacRieve reacts. I think the thing that I loved about this the most was that it looked at, like, we always see it as a woman that's been through sexual assault or grooming or whatever. So I think it was really interesting to look at it as a powerful alpha kind of male of what trauma he went through at, you know, such a young age, as like a child, and how that really affected him. So I really liked seeing that from a male's perspective and how he like got through it. And he really has had to so many hundreds of years of not dealing with it, and then now he's faced with being mated with somebody that's half of what did that to him. So it's like he really has to deal with. And so I thought his reaction was understandable. Was it great? No. But I mean, if he had trauma, like that would be really hard for him. Absolutely agree. Adored MacRieve, and I agree. I love the vampires, but there's something about the lichens. Yeah, I just love the lichens. They're like beast coming out. I just love that. We get our primal play type of stuff with lichens, so I just love them.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the lichens, and I just love the whole family overall. And obviously, in this one, we get a glimpse of Monroe, right, or more of a glimpse of Monroe. Mm-hmm. We get his book later, but I actually liked. I mean, we'll get into, I guess, what we like most about it. But what I liked most about it was the progression of this story, kind of the additional elements we get around the world generally, and the kind of the progression. We get to learn a bit more, and obviously we find out that Chloe is the commander's daughter. We learn a bit more about what's gone on with him, and so for me, the romance in this book kind of like took a secondary role almost. Like I didn't like. I liked them, but I was hoping to like MacRieve more than I did, because obviously we've seen him. I felt a lot of empathy for him, and then I just felt like actually their romance was a little bit overshadowed for me personally with the rest of the stuff that was going on. I don't know,
with his trauma and everything. Like, let's see here. I love that they're called Hot and Hotter. I love that. I thought it was crazy too that we get teased with Monroe's book at the end, and then it's like 4 books later. That's what Kresley Cole likes to do to us.
It's but it was like, not only was it 4 books later, it was like 8 years later, right?
Because I remember I was listening to their podcast, and they're like, Monroe's finally coming out. Monroe's finally coming out. And I'm like, really? Like, so they've been waiting forever for like Monroe to get out. So I'm like, lucky for us, we don't have to wait. We can just get right through these books and get to it. But I'm like, man, she really teases people. And then like one book of these that next month, it's like characters we've never even read about before. So it's like she's, teasing stuff. So I think I guess it's pretty smart, keeps people hooked.
It is. It's sort of making me a bit worried, because I thought, oh my God, we're already 14 books in. That's a lot of books. That's a lot of world building. And yet there's still some characters that we read about in books 2 and 3 that we still haven't had their stories yet. And she keeps adding on these stories. And I feel like we keep going back in time and then overlaying the timeline. And I'm like, is she going to stop writing? Because she's definitely slowed down, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then I'm like,
I mean, we got to get Nyx eventually, right? Like, she's my favorite. Okay, so what were your thoughts on MacRieve? I think you were kind of saying your issues, but what did you kind of think of his character?
So, I mean, going into this book, I had high hopes for him, high hopes, because I really like the lichens. He's obviously a very tortured hero. We didn't know fully about his past on when he was a young boy, but we knew obviously he'd been through a lot of trauma on the torture island, as we like to call it. But yeah, I don't know. He didn't wow me as much as I was hoping he was going to.
Yeah,
like he was quite.
I think it was very depressing. It's a more depressing storyline.
And I get it. I totally get it. It's been through a lot, right? And he's held on to a lot of baggage. It's been a lot of time. But he was spending most of his time like really depressed. Then he gets his woman and he thinks, oh, the tide has turned. I'm finally got what I wanted. And then he finds out who she really is, and then it's like, oh, maybe not. So I found he was a bit of a roller coaster. He was.
Yeah. I hope Nyx gets her story too. She's got to end it with. Maybe she'll end it with Nyx. I don't know. But my thoughts on MacRieve, I really like empathize with his character. I think the prologue and like that whole introduction to him is like, I think he was like 9 or something when this succubi did this to him and like groomed him and then like made it, like gave him those whatever toxin type of thing to make him like have to keep coming back to her. And just the fact that he like would feel responsible his whole life for the fact that both of his parents died because of that. And then him feeling grief when she died, even though she was like the monster, really messed him up. And then you add on the fact that at Torture Island, he was about to get like attacked and assaulted by more succubi. So he's going to have this prejudice against them. And I liked seeing his journey of realizing like they're not all like this. Like she was banished from there. and kind of realizing he's been wrong and it's not like they are all this evil type of creature. But he has so much to come to terms with and deal with. So I really enjoyed that we got to see a playful and torturous side to him. Yeah, what happened to him in the prologue really set the tone for the type of man he became. Yeah. One thing I love though, is like when he was reacting so badly, how much Monroe like stepped in. And then I love that Monroe, like one of my favorite parts was him telling him like, you owe me this. You owe me a sister. Like, you're not going to ruin this. And he kept that like anger inside and was always just there for him for so long but like he lost his sister when the mother died while she was pregnant too. And so just to see that kind of trauma that they both have together too, it's a very dark, I think it's a lot darker of a story because it's dealing with a lot of assault and like not and trauma and not him never working through it. So like him going out to like burn down that cottage and stuff, he's trying to kind of work through his demons so that he could be a good mate to her. But yeah. So I thought that was all. It's pretty heavy. It's a lot more heavy than the previous book of like the subject matter.
Yeah, definitely. And that's maybe what it was, because I rate based on how I feel at the end of the book, and I felt like I didn't feel like I enjoyed it. It was quite difficult to read, right?
Yeah, it's a tough journey. Like it's not easy, especially because so what do you think of Chloe, the heroine? Because she goes through a lot in this, so much in this, but she's always there for MacRieve, like she really steps in. Like I liked how she wasn't fighting the mating. Like I felt like I was getting so annoyed with the Valkyries who were always like, oh, I'm not a mate, I'm not your mate, and fighting the mating. It was just getting on my nerves. So I really liked her character. I liked how she was like a pro soccer, Olympic athlete. Like, so I really liked her. What did you think of her?
I actually really liked her as well, and I think she was like almost like refreshing. She's come from this sort of background where she's just a regular person, right? Like you say, she's out playing football and she's having a lovely time. Sorry, soccer, as you call it, and she's having a lovely time, and then obviously it's a bit of a shock, isn't it, to find out that you're part of this, you're part of the law.
Yeah.
And to be even less, and her dad just leaves her with the book, and she's like, I don't even know what I am. And she doesn't know what's going to trigger her. She has no idea. And so I feel like she took it in stride, though, right? Because she was just like, well, I better just go along with it.
Like, she didn't even know about this world. Her dad leaves her a book and says, here you go. I'm abandoning you. Here's a book that explains what you are, and I'm not going to help explain anything. I mean, I hate Webb. Okay. But like in his whole thing too, where he's like now this monster out of all these different species, and then now he was like part of it, and now it's like his whole twisted views are changed to the other side now of them taking over the world. It's like he's just a psycho. But like, so I thought she had so much to deal with, not knowing anything about the Immortals and this lore, and then finding out she's kind of part of it and being mated to a lichen, all these things. So I think she did really adjust pretty well with it, but then she has the added thing of having to deal with MacRieve and his trauma. So I mean, she went through a lot.
She did.
Let me see here. I love the heroine. She was so tenacious.
Yeah, and very resilient. Yeah, I mean that whole thing where she was being passed around as well. It was almost like she was some sort of football where like they were just passing her back and throwing her to the next person, and he was going after her. It's just like,
well, crazy. Yeah. And so I like the introduction to like her family, and then when they had to like help her because she was like basically dying, because he didn't like have good feelings when he.
Yeah, exactly.
Like these like things are just so and then when they were gonna like, oh, we're gonna get somebody that will have sex with her and to a lichen, he's like no, like that's not happening. Like, so I liked that too, like learning more about like the succubi and like all of that like was really interesting. So I think it was really good because I think she was probably the best person for MacRieve, even though they're fated mates, to help him through everything. I will bring it back to Werda's other comment where she says, and I like that Nick said to him about the bone having to be broken again to set it right.
Yeah.
Like, I really loved that. Like, he really, and I love that Nyx did all this effed up stuff to bring them together.
Also, like, Nyx, what are you doing? You just like literally dropped him off knowing that he was going to be picked up and taken to the island.
She like betrayed him and did all this stuff, but it was because she had to get him to his mate and get him to this place. And I'm like, it just shows Nyx, like, she's a mastermind and she's got all her chess pieces and she's moving everybody where she needs them to go. So I loved seeing her again in this because she's my favorite, even though, you know, sometimes she does some pretty messed up stuff,
some crazy things, but you know it's going to work out right. But it was
it's all for the greater good.
But even MacRieve, though, he never told anyone what she'd done, right? Because obviously, well, don't tell anyone. And he does keep that. So although he's like, when Munro's asking him, and he's like, "Don't talk about her. We're not talking about Nyx." He never actually reveals what Nyx has done, so no one knows that she betrayed him, right?
Yeah. Well, because she did that thing to Lothair too, where he was like had to stay buried for like all that time, and I don't know. I love Nyx. So I guess that's one of my favorite side characters is Nyx, but I really liked Monroe a lot in this. Like, I thought he was such a supportive brother. I know, like, some people were like, just that tease of what he did at the end with his mate pissed people off, but I find it really interesting, and I can't wait to get to his book. But we got to wait 4 books to get to his book now.
Yeah, but that didn't piss me off because I kind of get that as well. Like, he's waited all that time for his mate. He finally gets, so he's not going to let her die, right? He's going to do what he needs to do and worry about the consequences later. Yeah, that's always a tough one. But no, I really liked him as well. Again, he was the level-headed brother. Like, he'd been through a lot as well, right? And he'd been so supportive of MacRieve all of this time. He really wants to do right by his brother. He's totally forgiven him. He's like not holding any anger towards his brother for what has kind of happened. He just wants to help him. And even when MacRieve has been an idiot, Munro was still saying, "You're going to regret this because this is your mate." So
he was kind of like the voice of reason to MacRieve, who's like literally losing his mind and like going rage beast, and like he's trying to bring him down. Like, stop, think about this. You know, this is your mate. So I really liked him. Of course, I love Nyx. I actually liked the other succubi, like kind of just seeing those characters too, and like their whole realm or like portal wherever they're at was very interesting. It seemed all like homey and cute, and he's like thinking they're all these evil creatures.
But that's really good of Cressley Cole as well, right? So you've kind of got this thing where everyone thinks they're evil because what they know of them does appear to be quite bad. Yeah. And then we have sympathy for Chloe because now actually they're trapped together, right? He's her mate, so he's got no choice but to be with her, and she needs him to actually like survive because if she doesn't get food, she's going to die.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they're both trapped in this really terrible situation, and you're like, well, actually, it sounds bad, but it isn't as bad as it seems. And then when you find out what the succubus are really like in their home plane or wherever they live, then you go, actually, they're really nice people.
Yeah, he was like, whoa, this is really cute. This little town. He's like, this is not what I was expecting, when he's only seen the ones that have basically been like kind of thrown out of their area and like banished. So like that's the only experience like they've really had. And here he's been like killing them and like, so I don't know. I had a good time with this one. I liked it. You know, I like the darker, traumatic stories. I really do. But so we'll go with I'll do with the negative first so we can end on a positive note. So what didn't you like about the book?
I think I just didn't like it was tough to read. It was quite depressing, like we've said, in parts, right? So I didn't get this like feel good factor of reading the story. I also thought, I don't know, we've discussed it now, and maybe I judged it too harshly, but I felt like MacRieve was just a little bit over the top. Like, it's not her fault. Like, and I understand he's traumatized, and I get why he acts the way he does, but also it's like she literally has no clue even what she is. So she's not doing anything deliberately. It's not like some evil scheme on her part to try and trick him.
So, yeah, I think him being likened to makes him jump to like, he's not going to think things out. He's going to act aggressively. And so he like definitely overreacts with her and in a brutal way. Like, you know, where like he's literally like throwing up, having had sex, you know, being intimate with her makes him like want to puke, but then that's with his trauma. So it's like, he's just kind of triggered that way. I love how MacRieve's views were so challenged. He had such bad prejudices for a good reason, but completely flipped by the end. Yeah. I do think that's good. Like, he acknowledged how wrong he was and, you know, how bad he treated her and just wanted to be a better mate at that point. I guess the thing, I didn't really not like anything about this. Like, I really loved it. I love the trauma. I love the depression. I love the darkness. I love watching MacRieve work through all those things. So I don't really think I didn't like anything. I will say one thing I didn't like, and that's the resolution that we don't really get with Webb. The father, like, and I guess it's because it's going to continue and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I wanted him to kill him. And
well, and Nyx is implied he's got the end game though, right? Nyx is sort of
I don't know. He doesn't seem badass enough to be end game because he's so like, even having all those powers, I just felt like he was kind of like an idiot. But that's probably just my views on Webb because I don't. But you know, he might be some bigger plan like that Cressley Cole had, you know, but so I was kind of like, oh man, you're gonna let him go, like, but I get why he does it too, because him killing his mate's father isn't going to be good for him when he's already having to kind of grovel after all his actions. Webb really needed to die. yeah I was like, wait, what? When I was listening to him, like, he's not gonna die here, come on.
What if it ends up being Nyx's mate, though?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, this guy's got to die. He's gonna
go.
Well, I'm like, and like, I don't know which book it's gonna be, but like, we've been also like, she's been teasing Fury forever and all those things. So I'm like, when did those books happen? So I'm always just thinking, like, when is this character gonna happen? When's this character's romance gonna happen? Okay, so what did you like about the book?
So I just really liked the overall backstory. I feel like we're making a little bit more progress in the timeline because a lot of the books, like before, kind of overlap and we kind of go back a bit and we come forward a bit. And I feel at this point we've kind of progressed a little bit in the timeline, which I like. We've learned a little bit more about different species within the lore. And yeah, it's kind of like, it's still really setting up the next couple of books, right? I'm excited, like, for Monroe's book. Oh, we don't know what, you know, we don't know where he's ended up. And and even in the book before, we now know where that sky place is, right? Where the Reckoners are hanging out. And I'm really looking forward to the book with, is it Melanthe, who's the sorcerer and the Reckoner.
I'm really excited for the next two books, which I guess I'll say what I like about this first, which you already know. I like everything about this. I like MacRieve. I loved the heroine. I loved like the working through trauma and all of that stuff. It got me all my feels. So I pretty much liked everything about this one. This was more my speed. Let's see. I loved how depressing this book was. And the way that was explored. Yeah, I guess we're on the same page here. Like, I guess I really liked the depressing, traumatic content and how he, like, I just really think it was interesting to watch a man go through that because we get so much representation for women in books, but men have this happen too, and that's such a different kind of feelings that they go through when they experience SA and everything. So I think that's what I liked, was that it was exploring it for a man too, and kind of what that would do to you, especially if you're an alpha Lycan like type of badass, and like it happened to you at such a young age. How would that change your whole life? And what Cressley Cole does so well is how she brings two people together that think they would never be together and get an AGA. Yeah, she does that in every one of these books, it's always like it seems impossible, but by the end she makes it happen. So I really like that. Like she actually writes good like enemies to lovers where it's like true enemies too. Where I feel like a lot of enemies to lovers is just kind of like, oh, we kind of dislike each other.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is tease for the next month too is we are going to be reading Dark Sky and Sweet Ruin. And I've seen a lot of like other people really rave about these being like their favorites of the series. So like I'm really excited, even like with I think it's even Sweet Ruin where it felt like, oh, I don't know who these characters are. But when I was looking at it, I realized that the heroine from this one is actually the sister of the, oh gosh, what's his name again? Her name's Jo, and she's the older sister of the kid that basically he was on Torture Island and Love of Affair. Like,
yes, because we didn't know who he was, right? Did we find out?
Yeah, like there's a lot of mystery of him.
He's a part
so right? Maybe Warden knows his name, but I'm trying to remember what his name was, but I know I loved that character. Where I was like,
I feel like was it something beginning with T, like Toby or something?
Yeah, I'm like, what was his name again? Let me see if it's listed here. Thad. Okay, Thad. Okay, so and she doesn't know what she is, and so like, and I think this guy is going to be like a dark fae or something. So like his blood is poison, and I think she like will drink him and like enjoy it and not. I don't know. So it's I don't know. I'm really intrigued by those two. I think it's going to be really good. So if anybody wants to join us on that one too, you can. I don't know if Jen said she wanted to do those books or not, but
Sweet Ruin, because I'm pretty sure she said she would join for Sweet Ruin.
Yeah, because I think it's a lot of people's favorites. Like I was watching Justin, because I know Justin reads romance. She did like a ranking of these, and I think that one was like her favorite, if I'm remembering correctly. One of these two was. So I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I can't wait for those. Yeah, so definitely. I'm very excited.
It was definitely good. Yeah, I am too. I definitely want to see the next one. Yeah, Dark Sky. Be good.
So do you want to talk about anything else? Any other things going on in the book community you want to talk about before we get off?
Oh, I don't know. What do you think?
Can't wait for the next two. I remember reading those books and loving them, but don't remember much about the plot. Yay. Well, I'm happy you're sticking with us and coming to the live show. We have like nobody watching these, which I was like, oh, well, you know, maybe they'll find them later, like online, but it's fine. This is kind of for me anyways, because it's something I wanted to do the last couple of years, but I just kind of didn't know if I could really do it because I didn't have as big as a channel, you know, but oops, I just went to her previous one. Sorry about that. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a tough time of day for you guys as well, right? Because I'm on here, so you've got a little bit earlier. Maybe you'd have more people at night time, but it's good to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. So. It's fine. We're getting through it, and we're getting through this whole series, so it's fun. I'm glad you stuck with me. You're like my only.
I was determined. You're like, let's go. Because otherwise, it would have taken me years to get through it. If I hadn't forced myself to read, I would have been like.
Especially when you're getting like kind of solid 4-star ones, it wouldn't like really push you to read like the next one right away sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I really enjoyed the series and would definitely recommend the series to people. But I feel like it's more the whole world and the characters as a whole and the community that we've kind of discovered and all the friendships that are forming rather than the individual romances.
Yeah, Warda, you should join us on the live next time since it's you, me, and her talking in comments. It's a 3-way conversation. So if you want to join in the live next time, let me know. Reach out and you can definitely join us because the more the merrier. We'll all just gush about these books. Yeah, I really like these because I don't read a ton of paranormal. I usually like read just like shifter or werewolf or witch stuff, and I'll usually always wait for some reason until fall to read it. It's like that's the time that because I have shifter books I need to get to, and then I'll be like, well, I want to wait till October or something around that time to get to like my shifter paranormal reads. So Yeah, I really like this. I think this is a good series. I think these are some of the best paranormal books I've ever read, and it's such a big world that I think she does it really well with the world building and kind of expanding with each book. So that's kind of what I like about these.
Yeah. I think it'll be really interesting to see some of her newer books as well when we get right to the end, because they're the books she's released most recently, right? And because she's been writing them for so many years, I felt like definitely book one, it's kind of old school as well, right? There's some content in there that we probably wouldn't write now, we wouldn't read now. And it'd be interesting to see how the stories sort of changed to like come to modern times almost. And because she did have that, because she was pumping them out pretty quick in the early days, right? And then there was a massive gap, and now they're much more spaced out.
I wonder how long she's gonna go with it, because I just hope she doesn't give up before we get Nyx. That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's all we ask.
I just want Nyx.
But maybe she's got like 10 more plotted out, she's gonna go on.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we'll end it here. Thank you so much for being here, and anybody else on here. Thanks for commenting in this three-way conversation with us. I appreciate you guys watching these live shows. Even if you watch it later, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of these books, because I know some people watch them later. We appreciate you guys and for sticking with me on this. All right, so I don't know when the next live show is going to be. I always am last minute trying to figure it out, especially with like scheduling wise, but we'll figure it out probably the end of the month, more like that, because I want to give people time to actually read these books, because they're not like really short.
Yeah.
So but anyways, thank you so much, and we will see you guys on the next live.
Thank you. See you later.